Cold. Cold. That evening, a black sedan pulled up outside my building. Tinted windows. Engine idling. A man stepped out in a tall, gray suit, face like chiseled granite. This was Rosendo N. Ledbetter. Behind him, two others in tactical gear, earpieces, expressionless. They had that dead-eyed look of men who followed orders without question. The sedan's door slammed. Footsteps echoed up the stairwell. People in the hallway scattered. Some ducked into their apartments, others just froze and stared. The curious cracked their doors to get a better look. Ledbetter stopped at my door. His men flanked him. He didn't knock. Just stood there, waiting. I opened it. He looked me up and down and measured me like livestock. Then he produced a manila envelope. Thick. Heavy. $50,000 a month, he said. His voice was flat, corporate. Mr. Schwartz needs a security contractor. $50,000 a month. I heard it. I didn't believe it. My neighbors were watching from their cracked doors. Whispers. Shuffling. The hallway felt smaller. The assignment is at a private facility. Remote location. Like a switch flipped. Doors slammed shut. Every single one. The hallway emptied in seconds. Just gone. Only Mrs. Chin from 3B lingered, fear in her eyes. Then she too disappeared behind her door. I heard locks clicking all down the corridor. I was alone with these three men. Ledbetter studied me. His men adjusted their stance. Why aren't you closing your door like the rest? He asked. Because I haven't made rent in 4 months, I said. My wife's medical bills bankrupted me 2 years ago. She's dead now. The bank took everything. 50,000 is 50,000. He nodded slowly. He understood desperation. Men like him traded in it. The job is guarding a high-value corporate asset. Biological research specimen. 1-month contract. He dropped the envelope on my doorframe. Heavy. Real. Then a black folder with red tape sealing it. A car will pick you up in 48 hours. 4 a.m. Be ready. We'll brief you on location. I did the math instantly. 48 hours to get affairs in order. Sign the NDAs. Pack my life into a duffel bag. 2 days if everything went right. What kind of asset am I guarding? I asked. His expression didn't change. The kind that requires someone with your particular skill set. Military background. Dishonorable discharge. No family. No one who'll ask questions. He paused. Don't be late, Mr. Givens. Mr. Schwartz doesn't appreciate delays. And they were gone. Down the stairs. Into the sedan. Tail lights fading into the city night. I stood in my doorway. Envelope in one hand. Sealed folder in the other. The hall was dead silent. I didn't know if I should have taken this job. I went back inside with the envelope. Its weight felt wrong. Too easy. Too much money. I opened it. $50,000 bills. Clean. Sequential. And underneath, a photograph. Steel bars. Shadows. Something crouched in darkness. 2 golden eyes staring directly at the camera. My wife's photo sat on the shelf across from me. She'd been gone for 2 years, but I still kept her picture there. I got a job, I told her silently. I called my sister, Marie. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Rick? It's midnight. I got a job offer. Big money. 1 month. 50 grand. Silence on the line. Long silence. Rick, she finally said, her voice tight. When they pay that much, there's a reason. People don't come back from those jobs. Marie, I'm 3 weeks from being homeless. I'd rather have a broken brother than a dead one, she said. Mom had a dream before she died. Said she saw crows circling your apartment. Don't do this. I didn't answer. I have to go, Marie. You're coming back, she said. Not a question. A command. Stubborn bastards like you always come back. I hung up. Sat there in the dark. My wife's face in the photograph. Those golden eyes in the security photo. The eviction notice. All of it laid out like a hand of cards. I knew if I kept looking, I'd change my mind. And I couldn't change my mind. Not anymore. 48 hours. That's all I had to decide if I wanted to stay human or become whatever this job would make me. I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by the evidence of my failure. Medical bills stacked like accusation letters, $127,000 for chemotherapy that didn't work. $43,000 for hospice care in those final 3 weeks. $18,000 for the funeral I put on credit because I couldn't let her go into the ground like a pauper. The bank statements showed zeros. The eviction notice had a court date circled in red. 72 hours until the marshals came. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Givens. Ledbetter's voice was ice. I trust you've had time to consider Mr. Schwartz's proposition. I'm considering. Let me clarify your circumstances. You owe $190,000 in medical debt. Your credit score is 410. You were dishonorably discharged from the Marines for striking a superior officer. You have no references. No prospects. No family except a sister who can barely support herself. He paused. You're 48 hours from homelessness. Am I painting an accurate picture? My jaw clenched. You've done your homework. Mr. Schwartz doesn't make offers to people he hasn't researched thoroughly. You have a very particular profile, Mr. Givens. Former force recon. Weapons expert. Comfortable with isolation. And most importantly, you're desperate enough to take a job that good men would refuse. What's the job really? I asked. And don't give me that high-value asset bullshit. Silence on the line. Long enough that I thought he'd hung up. You'll be stationed at a private research facility. Your sole responsibility is to monitor and maintain security for a biological specimen. You will feed it according to schedule. You will observe it. You will report any anomalies. You will not communicate with it. You will not deviate from protocol. You will not ask questions. What kind of specimen? The kind that Mr. Schwartz's competitors would pay millions to acquire. The kind that requires a man who knows how to keep his mouth shut. His voice dropped. Discretion is survival, Mr. Givens. The previous contractor forgot that. He started asking questions. I started having doubts. He's currently residing in a psychiatric facility, heavily medicated, unable to form coherent sentences. Do you understand what I'm telling you? My blood went cold. Are you threatening me? I'm clarifying expectations. 1 month. $50,000. Cash. $25,000 advance, $25,000 upon completion. You sign the NDAs. You do the job. You walk away with enough money to start over. Or he paused. You can wait for the marshals on Friday and see how comfortable a homeless shelter is in November. I looked at Sarah's photo on the shelf. Her smile from her wedding day. Before the diagnosis. Before I watched her disappear one day at a time. When do I start? A car will arrive at your location in 90 minutes. Bring minimal personal effects. No phones. No cameras. No electronic devices of any kind. You'll be provided everything you need on site. His tone shifted, becoming almost conversational. One more thing, Mr. Givens. If you tell anyone about this job, your sister, a friend, a bartender, the offer is void. And Mr. Schwartz has a very long memory for people who compromise his operations. Do we have an understanding? Yeah. We have an understanding. Good. The car will be there at 2,200 hours. Don't be late. He hung up. I sat there staring at the phone. Every instinct I'd honed in the Marines was screaming at me to walk away. This was wrong. Everything about it was wrong. The money. The secrecy. The thinly veiled threats. The previous guard in a psych ward. But then I looked at the bills. The eviction notice. The repo notice for my truck is already gone. The electricity shut-off warning. I'd already lost everything. What was left to lose? I pulled out my duffel bag and started packing. 2 changes of clothes. Toiletries. A book I'd never finish. My hands shook as I folded each item. I kept seeing Sarah in that hospital bed, her hand in mine, whispering, "Don't let them take everything from us." But they already had. This job was just me admitting it. I picked up her photo. Wedding day. She was laughing at something I'd said. I couldn't even remember what it was anymore. I traced her face with my thumb. "I'm sorry," I whispered to the empty room. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you. I'm sorry I let it all fall apart. I'm sorry I'm about to do something that would probably break your heart." I set the photo down. Couldn't pack it. Couldn't bring her into whatever darkness was waiting for me. "I'll do whatever it takes," I said. "Even if it makes me into something you wouldn't recognize." At 2,200 hours exactly, headlights cut through my window. A black SUV idling at the curb. No horn. Just waiting. I grabbed my duffel bag, took one last look at the apartment that used to be a home, and walked out. The door locked behind me with a click that sounded like a cell door closing. The driver didn't speak. Didn't even look at me. Just pulled away from the curb the moment I shut the door. I watched the city lights fade in the rearview mirror. I watched everything I knew disappear into the darkness behind us. And I wondered if I'd ever see any of it again. The SUV drove for 3 hours into nothing. Cities became towns, highways became dirt roads that shouldn't exist on any map. We stopped once at what looked like an abandoned airfield. The driver finally spoke. "Out." A helicopter waited in the darkness, rotors already spinning. A different man in tactical gear approached with a black hood. "Protocol," he said, not apologizing. "Turn around." The hood went over my head. The world went black. Hands guided me toward the helicopter, strapped me in. The engine roared. We lifted. I felt the lurch in my stomach as we climbed, then banked hard left. No one spoke over the headset. Just the rhythmic thump of the rotors and my own breathing inside the hood. I tried to count the minutes. I tried to feel which direction we were heading. North, maybe. The air got colder. We climbed higher. 40 minutes. An hour. I lost track. Time became elastic in the darkness. When we finally descended, I felt it in my bones. The change in air pressure. The slight tilt. The skids touching the ground. The engine powered down. Hands unbuckled me, guided me out. My boots hit concrete. "Don't move," someone said. The hood came off. I blinked against floodlights so bright they whited out everything. Slowly, shapes emerged. We were on a helipad surrounded by 12-foot chain-link fencing topped with razor wire. Every 10 feet, a camera. Beyond the fence, the forest was so dense it looked like a solid wall. And behind me, a compound that looked like it had been designed by someone who'd studied prisons and decided they weren't quite oppressive enough. 3 low concrete buildings arranged in a triangle. Brutalist architecture. No windows on the outer walls. Surveillance cameras everywhere, moving in synchronized patterns. Guard towers at each corner with armed men silhouetted against spotlights. The entire perimeter was ringed with more fencing, more cameras, more lights. It looked like a black site. It probably was. "Mr. Givens." A woman's voice. She emerged from the shadows, 50s, gray hair pulled back, white lab coat over tactical pants. Her ID badge read Dr. Reina Cortez, facility manager. She didn't offer her hand. "Welcome to Site 7. Follow me." We walked toward the main building. Armed guards flanked us. Their weapons weren't for show. I recognized the safeties were off. The last guard lasted 3 weeks before his breakdown, Dr. Cortez said without preamble. "Try to do better." "What happened to him?" She stopped, turned to look at me. Her eyes were tired. Ancient. "He forgot the first rule. Don't get attached." She resumed walking. "This facility operates under Class 5 security protocols. What you see here, what you hear here, what you do here, it never leaves here. We're not on any map. We don't exist. And if you violate that understanding, neither will you. Clear? Crystal." We entered through biometric scanners. Retinal scan. Fingerprint. Voice recognition. 3 separate security doors, each one thicker than the last. The interior was sterile. White walls. LED lighting. The smell of industrial disinfectant and something else. Something animal. Medical wing, Dr. Cortez gestured to our left. Through a window I saw examination tables with restraints. Monitoring equipment. A surgical suite. We maintain full veterinary and medical capabilities on site. Hopefully you won't need them. We passed a command center. Wall of monitors showing every angle of the compound. 6 technicians watching screens. One monitor showed a cell. Darkness. Nothing moving. Your predecessor spent a lot of time watching that feed, Dr. Cortez said. I don't recommend it. What you can't see can't keep you awake at night. We descended a stairwell. Down. The temperature dropped. The walls changed from drywall to poured concrete. Reinforced. We were underground now. Containment Wing D. She stopped at a security door. Not regular steel. This was something else. Inches thick. A biometric lock glowed red beside it. This is where you'll work. The asset is housed in Cell 1. You'll receive your schedule on the tablet in your quarters. Feeding times. Observation windows. Emergency protocols. You follow them exactly. No improvisation. No initiative. You're not here to think. You're here to maintain. What am I maintaining? She looked at me like I'd already failed a test. A $50 million investment. That's all you need to know. We didn't enter. She led me back up, through another corridor, to Building C. My quarters. She opened the door with a keycard, handed it to me. Everything you need is inside. The schedule is on the tablet. Do your job. Don't ask questions. Don't get attached. Those are the 3 rules. The previous contractor broke all 3. Don't follow his example. She left without another word. The door closed behind me with a pneumatic hiss. The room was a cell pretending to be quarters. Single bed. Metal desk. Toilet and sink in the corner. No windows. One door. A tablet on the desk glowing with my schedule. And a monitor mounted on the wall showing 4 different camera feeds. 3 showed empty corridors. Sterile. Dead. The 4th showed Cell 1. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the screen. Darkness. Steel bars. Nothing moving. Just shadows and the faint outline of something in the back corner. Then the shadows shifted. Something stood up. Slow. Deliberate. It moved toward the bars. The infrared camera caught the reflection first. 2 points of light in the darkness. Eyes. Golden eyes. Watching the camera. No watching me. Like it knew I was on the other side of that feed. Like it had been waiting for me to arrive. The shape moved closer to the bars. The camera's resolution was shit, but I could make out the silhouette now. Humanoid. Feminine. Something else that didn't fit either category. It stood there. Motionless. Just watching. I should have turned off the monitor. Should have followed Dr. Cortez's advice. But I couldn't look away. Because whatever was in that cell wasn't moving like an animal. It was standing like it was deciding something. Calculating. Thinking. And at that moment, I understood why the previous guard had broken down. This wasn't a specimen. This was someone. And I was her jailer. The tablet woke me at 0545 hours with a sound like a flatline. I'd barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those golden eyes staring back from the monitor. By 0600, I was in the briefing room. Dr. Cortez and 2 security personnel waited. One of them, a thick-necked man whose name tag read Morrison, slid a laminated card across the table. Feeding Protocol Alpha, he said. Memorize it. Your life depends on it. I scanned the card. Clinical. Precise. Dehumanizing. The subject receives 1 meal daily at 0630 hours. Approach cell with armed escort. Maintain minimum 3-meter distance from bars at all times. Insert food tray through designated slot. Do not make eye contact. Do not speak to the subject. Do not respond to vocalizations. Exit immediately upon completion. Emergency sedation procedures, Dr. Cortez added, sliding another card. If the subject displays aggression, you press this button. She pointed to a red panic button on my belt. You'll have 45 seconds before the tranquilizer gas deploys. That should be enough time to exit the containment area. Should it be? Morrison's expression didn't change. The previous contractor had 60 seconds. He wasted 30 standing there watching her. Don't be stupid like he was. They handed me a food cart. Stainless steel. A covered tray. The smell hit me, raw meat. Fresh. Still bleeding. Let's go, Morrison said. We walked through Building C, down the stairwell, back into the cold concrete of the underground level. 2 other guards joined us. 4 armed men for 1 feeding. That told me everything. The security doors opened one at a time. Biometric scans. Keycard verification. Each door is thicker than the last. The final door was reinforced steel with a small window. Bulletproof glass. Beyond it, a corridor. 20 feet long. Bars at the end. Cell 1. You go in alone, Morrison said. We stay here. Anything goes wrong, hit the button. We'll extract you. Comforting. It's not meant to be. The door opened. I pushed the cart forward. The wheels echoed in the concrete corridor. Every sound was amplified. My breathing. My footsteps. The slight rattle of the tray. I stopped 3 meters from the bars. Exactly as instructed. The cell was larger than I expected. 20 feet deep. Reinforced bars from floor to ceiling. Darkness in the back. A concrete platform that might have been a bed. A steel bowl. A drain in the floor. Nothing else. No enrichment. No comfort. Just a cage. And in the shadows, a shape. She stood slowly. Not like an animal waking. Like a person who'd been awake for hours. Waiting. Paula. She stepped into the light. My breath caught. Spotted fur covered her body with gold and black rosettes like a leopard, but the pattern was wrong. More complex. Almost decorative. Her build was athletic, feminine, and powerful. Human proportions but alien in execution. Her face was the most unsettling of feline features, flat nose, sharp cheekbones, but her eyes were positioned forward like a human's. Predator eyes. Golden. Luminous. She wore gold jewelry. Bands around her wrists. A collar at her throat. Not restraints. Adornments. Cultural. Chosen. She moved toward the bars with perfect balance. No aggression. No fear. Just calm, deliberate steps. Her tail, yes, a tail moved behind her in slow, measured sweeps. 3 meters from me, she stopped. Sat down on her haunches with impossible grace. And stared. I'd been told not to make eye contact. But I couldn't look away. Those eyes held intelligence. Not animal cunning. Human awareness. Maybe more than human. She was studying me. Cataloging. Deciding. My hand shook as I uncovered the tray. Raw meat. A hunk of something that might have been venison. I slid it through the designated slot at the base of the bars. The mechanism clicked. The tray moved into the cell. Paula didn't move. Protocol said to leave immediately. I should have turned and walked away. But I didn't. She tilted her head. A question. Then she stood, walked to the tray, and picked up the meat with one hand. Her fingers were longer than human. Clawed. But the way she held it delicate, precise, that was human. She lifted the meat. Took a small bite. Chewed slowly. Her eyes never left mine. Not eating like an animal. Eating like someone at a table. With manners. With restraint. Then she did something that made my blood run cold. She set the meat down. Reached through the bars careful not to extend past the threshold and pushed the tray back toward me. Not aggressive. Not threatening. Deliberately. Slowly. A gesture. Communication. I don't want your charity. Or maybe, I know what you are. You're like the others. Or, you're afraid of me. You should be. I grabbed the cart and backed away. My hands were shaking. Paula remained sitting. Watching. Her tail swept once. Twice. Morrison was waiting when I stumbled back through the security door. You took too long, he said. She didn't eat. She will. They always do. Eventually. He paused. You made eye contact. Yeah. Don't do it again. That's how it starts. How does it start? He didn't answer. Just locked the doors behind us. Back in my quarters, I sat on the edge of the bed. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. That wasn't an animal. That was someone. Someone trapped. Someone aware of her captivity. Someone who'd just evaluated me and found me wanting. I noticed something I'd missed before. A locker beside the desk. Previous contractor's name still on the tag, Jenkins, M. I opened it. Most of it was empty. They'd cleared out his personal effects. But at the bottom, wedged between the wall and the frame, a notebook. Small. Worn. I pulled it out. Opened to the first page. Day 1, subject contained. No incidents. Standard protocols maintained. The handwriting was neat. Professional. Military precision. I flipped forward. Day 5, subject displays problem-solving behavior. Stacked food bowls to reach the ceiling vent. Unsuccessful but concerning. Day 8, subject responded to verbal commands during feeding. Sat when I said sit. Coincidence? Day 12, not coincidence. She understands English. Everything. She's been listening to us. The handwriting got messy. Day 15, found marking on wall. Scratched into concrete. It looked like a symbol. Dr. Cortez had it removed. Wouldn't tell me what it meant. Day 18, can't sleep. Her eyes. Even when I close mine, I see them. Why is she here? What did she do? No one will answer. Day 20, overheard Schwartz on the phone. Harvesting schedule. Genetic extraction. Liquidation phase. Oh God. Oh God. The final entry was barely legible. Written in what looked like panic. Day 21, she spoke to me. 3 words. Help me please. I can't. I can't do this. I can't be part of killing someone who can beg for her life. I have to get out. I have to. The entry ended there. A smudge. Like he'd dropped the notebook and run. I closed it. I looked at the monitor. Paula was back in the shadows. Sitting. Waiting. And I realized Jenkins had lasted 21 days before he broke. I'd lasted one. I couldn't stop reading Jenkins' notebook. It became an obsession. Every spare moment between feedings and patrols, I was back in those pages, watching a man's sanity unravel in real time. The early entries were mundane. Clinical observations. The kind of report you'd file on any animal in captivity. Day 2, subject consumed entire meal. No aggression displayed. Spent most of the day in the rear of the cell. Minimal movement. Day 3, the subject appears to be grooming. Deliberate, methodical. Possibly stress behavior. Day 4, the subject watched me during the entire feeding. No vocalizations. Tail movement suggests alertness, not aggression. But by day 6, something changed in Jenkins' tone. Day 6, subject responds to tone of voice. When I spoke harshly to Morrison outside the cell, she moved to the back. When I spoke normally, she approached. Coincidence or comprehension? Day 7, made eye contact today. I held it for 15 seconds before I looked away. Not like staring down a dog. Like having a conversation without words. Unsettling. Day 9, Dr. Cortez reprimanded me for anthropomorphizing the specimen. But how do you not anthropomorphize something that sits like a person, watches like a person, moves with intention like a person? I flipped ahead. The handwriting got looser. Less controlled. Day 11, she understands everything. I know she does. During feeding, I dropped the tray. Metal clattered loud. She didn't startle. She flinched, like someone anticipating a reprimand. Animals startle at noise. People flinch when they expect punishment. Day 13, tested a theory. Told her good morning when I arrived. She tilted her head. Nodded. Nodded. A human gesture. Dr. Cortez says I'm seeing patterns that aren't there. But I know what I saw. Day 14, why is she here? What did she do? I asked Morrison. He laughed. Said she didn't do anything. She just is something. What the hell does that mean? The middle entries showed Jenkins spiraling. Day 16, can't sleep. Close my eyes and see hers. Golden. Aware. Judging me. She knows what I am. What we all are. Her jailers. Day 17, she drew something today. Condensation on the bars from the humidity. Used her claw. When I got close, I saw a mountain range. Peaks. Valleys. Detailed. Deliberate. Not random scratching. Art. Day 18, Dr. Cortez saw the drawing. Had it hosed off immediately. Tell me if I encourage specimen creativity again, I'll be terminated. Since when is creativity something to suppress? Since when is drawing a crime? Day 19, heard Morrison and Cortez talking. Buyer interest is increasing. Genetic profile confirmed. Harvesting schedule moved up to accommodate. Harvesting. Like she's a crop. Like she's not a person sitting in that cell. The late entries were frantic. Written in different ink. Like he'd grabbed whatever pen was closest. Day 20, overheard Schwartz on the phone in the command center. The specimen's genetic material is worth more than the specimen itself. The liquidation phase can proceed once the buyer's complete verification. Organ extraction first, then tissue samples, then skeletal structure. He was talking about dissecting her. While she's in that cell, listening. Day 21, she spoke to me. 3 words. Clear. English. Help me please. Not a growl. Not an animal sound. Words. Human words. I stood there frozen. She said it again. Help me please. Her voice, God, her voice was beautiful. Melodic. Desperate. I ran. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Morrison found me in my quarters hyperventilating. I told him I was sick. He didn't believe me. The final entry was smeared. Water damage. Or tears. Day 22, I can't be part of this. I can't guard someone who begs for her life. I can't watch them kill someone who can speak, who can draw, who can think. But if I help her, they'll kill me. Schwartz made that clear. Discretion is survival. I'm trapped just like she is. Only my cage has better lighting. I have to get out. I have to. The entry ended mid-sentence. Like he'd dropped the pen and fled. I closed the notebook. My hands were shaking again. That night, I couldn't sleep. Jenkins' words echoed in my skull. Liquidation phase. Genetic harvesting. Organ extraction. At 0200 hours, I got up. The compound was quiet. Graveyard shift meant skeleton crew. I'd memorized the patrol patterns of my first-day-old habits from Force Recon. I slipped out of my quarters. Moved through the corridors like I belonged there. Confidence. Purposeful. Security cameras tracked me, but no alarms. I was authorized personnel. The medical wing was locked, but my keycard worked. Jenkins' card, actually. They'd deactivated his biometrics but forgot to deactivate the physical card. Sloppy. Inside, the smell of antiseptic and something chemical. Formaldehyde, maybe. I moved past the examination tables, the surgical suite, toward the records room. Filing cabinets. Digital and physical. I tried the computer first password protected. But the physical files were just locked drawers. I'd learned to pick locks in Fallujah when we needed to access insurgent hideouts. 30 seconds. The drawer clicked open. Files organized by subject number. I didn't know Paula's designation, so I pulled the most recent ones. Subject 7C, Subject 7D, Subject 7E. Subject 7E, Paula. I opened the file. The first page was a photograph. Paula, but younger. Healthier. Standing in what looked like wilderness. Mountains in the background, the same mountains she'd drawn in condensation. She wasn't alone. 3 others like her. Family, maybe. Pack. All of them looking at the camera with those same golden eyes. Red stamps across the photo, captured. Sedated. Contained. I flipped pages. Medical charts. Genetic analysis. Blood work. Tissue samples. MRI scans of her brain showed structure consistent with advanced cognition and language centers. They knew. They'd always known she was intelligent. Sentient. Capable of language, thought, culture. And they'd caged her anyway. I found the program designation, Species Preservation Program Liquidation Phase. A memo underneath, dated 2 weeks ago. Schwartz's signature at the bottom. Subject 7E confirmed as the last known specimen in the region. Genetic material deemed more valuable than live preservation. Bayer Consortium approved for full extraction. Proceed with harvesting schedule, organ removal, tissue samples, skeletal structure, DNA sequencing. Estimated timeline, 14 days from authorization. I did the math. 14 days from 2 weeks ago. They were going to kill her in less than a week. Behind me, a voice. Mr. Givens. I turned. Dr. Cortez stood in the doorway. She wasn't angry. She looked tired. Sad, almost. I was wondering when you'd come looking, she said. Jenkins made it 21 days. You made it 3. That might be a record. You knew, I said. You knew she could speak. Think. Feel. And you still locked her in a cage? Yes. Cortez stepped inside, closed the door. Because $50 million buys a lot of moral flexibility, Mr. Givens. And because if I refused, Schwartz would simply hire someone else. Someone less careful. Someone who'd make her suffering worse. She paused. At least I can ensure she's comfortable until the end. Comfortable? She's in a concrete box waiting to be butchered. She's alive. For now. That's more than the rest of her kind can say. Cortez took the file from my hands. Paula isn't dangerous, Mr. Givens. She's valuable. The last of something beautiful and rare. And that's exactly why she's imprisoned. Rarity equals profit. Extinction equals opportunity. She looked at me with those ancient, tired eyes. Now you know the truth. The question is, what are you going to do about it? After that night in the medical wing, everything changed. I couldn't unsee what I'd read. Couldn't know what Paula was. What they planned to do to her. I started small. Subtle acts of rebellion that might go unnoticed. During the morning feeding on day 4, I brought extra meat. Not much. Just a few ounces more than protocol required. I slid the tray through and waited. Paula approached slowly, studied the portion, then looked at me. Her head tilted. A question. I nodded. She took the meat and retreated to the shadows. That night, I adjusted the light controls in her cell. Protocol kept them at 70% brightness 24 hours a day, sensory deprivation disguised as security. I dimmed them to 40%. Enough to see, not enough to burn. The next morning, Paula was sitting closer to the bars. Waiting. When I arrived with breakfast, she didn't retreat. Just watched me approach. And beside the food tray from yesterday, carefully arranged, she'd left half the extra meat I'd given her. Not eaten. Returned. An offering. A gesture of trust. Or maybe something else. I don't need charity. I need freedom. I stared at it for a long moment. Morrison cleared his throat behind me through the observation window. I collected the old tray, left the new one, and walked away. But I understood what she was telling me. I see you seeing me. Day 6. During the feeding, I noticed something new near the bars. Small. White. I crouched, maintaining my 3-meter distance, and squinted. A bone. One of the larger ones from her meat rations. But it had been carved. Deliberately shaped with her claws into a crude figure. Humanoid. Standing upright. Arms slightly outstretched. It looked like a person. Like her. Or maybe like me. I glanced up. Paula sat in her usual spot, watching. Her tail swept once. Slow. Deliberate. She'd made art. Again. Despite Cortez having the last drawing destroyed. Despite knowing they'd take this too. I looked at the cameras, then back at Paula. I made a decision. I reached forward, still outside the 3-meter threshold, and carefully picked up the carving. I turned it in my hand. The detail was incredible. She'd etched lines for fingers, definition for a face, even suggestions of clothing or fur. I slipped it into my pocket. Paula's ears twitched forward. Surprise, maybe. Or relief. Morrison's voice crackled over the intercom. Givens. Protocol. I stood, delivered the food, and left. But I kept the carving. Day 7. I broke the most important rule. I approached the cell alone. Morrison had stayed behind to deal with a security system glitch. I had maybe 2 minutes unsupervised. I stopped at my usual position. Slide the tray through. But this time, I didn't leave. I know you understand me, I said quietly. My voice echoed in a concrete corridor. I know you can speak. I know what they're planning to do to you. Paula's head snapped up. Her golden eyes locked onto mine. I'm sorry, I continued. I'm sorry for what they're doing to you. I'm sorry I'm part of it. For a long moment, nothing. Just the hum of ventilation and my own heartbeat. Then Paula stood. Moved toward the bars. Not threatening. Not aggressive. Just deliberate. She stopped a foot from the steel, close enough that I could see every detail. The pattern of her spots. The gold jewelry at her wrists and throat, intricate, handcrafted. Cultural heritage. Identity. She raised one hand. Placed her palm flat against the bars. Her fingers were long, elegant despite the claws. The pads of her palm pressed against the cold metal. An invitation. Or a test. I looked at the camera in the corner. Red light blinking. They were watching. They were always watching. I didn't care anymore. I stepped forward. Closed the distance. Raised my own hand and pressed it against the bars opposite hers. Cold steel between us. But I could feel the warmth radiating from her palm. Could see her fingers align with mine through the gaps in the bars. Human and not human. Different and the same. Her eyes met mine. Not predator to prey. Not guarding prisoners. Person to person. Paula, I whispered. Your name is Paula. Her eyes widened. Just slightly. Then she spoke. Her voice was low, melodic, accented with something I couldn't place. Beautiful and heartbreaking. You know my name. 3 words. But they shattered everything. Yes, I said. I know your name. Her other hand came up, gripped the bars. How many days? She asked. Her English was careful. Measured. How many days do I have? My throat tightened. Less than a week. She closed her eyes. Her grip on the bars tightened until her knuckles showed white through the fur. A tremor ran through her body. Not fear. Rage. Grief. Everything she'd been holding back. I am the last, she said. My family and my people are all gone. Hunted. Captured. Killed. And now me. She opened her eyes. Tears tracked down her furred cheeks. I will die in this cage. Alone. No, I said. The word came out before I could think. No, you won't. You cannot stop them. They own you too. Maybe. But. Morrison's voice exploded over the intercom. Givens. Back away from the cell. Now. I jerked back. Paula dropped her hand from the bars and retreated into the shadows. The moment shattered. I grabbed the empty tray and stumbled toward the exit. Morrison met me at the security door, his face red. What the hell were you thinking? I was doing my job. Your job is to feed her, not have a fucking conversation. He grabbed my arm. You're on thin ice, Givens. Very thin. Back in my quarters, my tablet pinged. A message notification. I opened it. From RN Ledbetter. Mr. Givens. Surveillance indicates you are developing inappropriate attachment to the asset. This is your only warning. Maintain professional distance. Follow protocol. Remember your contract and remember what happened to your predecessor. Discretion is survival. RNL. I stared at the message. Then at the small bone carving sitting on my desk. Paula's art. Paula's voice is still echoing in my head. I will die in this cage. Alone. I deleted the message. Ledbetter was right about one thing, I was getting attached. But he was wrong about everything else. I wasn't Jenkins. I wasn't going to run. I was going to do something much more dangerous. I was going to help her. The helicopter arrived on day 9. I heard before dawn the distinctive thump of rotors cutting through the wilderness silence. By the time I dressed and reached the compound yard, Ledbetter was already striding across the helipad with 4 men in tactical gear flanking him. He didn't acknowledge me. Didn't acknowledge anyone. Just marched straight into the command center like he owned it. Because he did. Schwartz owned the facility, but Ledbetter ran it. Dr. Cortez met me outside the briefing room. Quarterly inspection, she said quietly. Stay out of his way. Do what he says. Don't engage. What's he inspecting? She looked at me with those tired eyes. Paula's market readiness. The buyers want confirmation she's viable before they finalize the purchase. My stomach turned. Viable. Healthy. Undamaged. Capable of surviving the extraction procedures long enough to harvest everything they need. She touched my arm. Givens. Whatever happens in there, don't interfere. He's looking for reasons to terminate people. Don't give him one. Ledbetter wanted to see Paula personally. Not through cameras. Not through reports. He wanted what he called direct assessment. We descended to containment wing. Me, Ledbetter, Morrison, and 2 of Ledbetter's security team. They carried equipment. I recognized the cattle prods immediately. Electric. High voltage. This isn't protocol, I said. Ledbetter glanced back. I determine protocol, Mr. Givens. You follow it. We stopped at Paula's cell. She was sitting in her usual spot, but her posture had changed. Tense. Alert. She'd heard us coming. I knew something was different. Ledbetter studied her through the bars like she was livestock. The subject appears healthy. The coat is in good condition. Muscle tone adequate. He turned to Morrison. Has she displayed any aggression? No, sir. Completely docile. Docile doesn't sell for $50 million. The buyers want to see her capabilities. Her defensive responses. Her threat profile. He pulled out one of the cattle prods. Let's see what she can do. My blood went cold. That's not necessary. I'll decide what's necessary. Ledbetter approached the bars. Paula retreated slightly, her eyes locked on the prod. She knew what it was. Knew what was coming. Stand down, Mr. Givens, Ledbetter said without looking at me. Then he jabbed the prod through the bars. The crack of electricity. Paula's scream, not animal, not human, something in between that tore through my chest like a blade. She lurched backward, her body convulsing. Crashed into the rear wall. Excellent reflexes, Ledbetter noted. Good muscle response. He jabbed again. Another crack. Another scream. Paula tried to dodge, but the cell was too small. Nowhere to run. She pressed herself against the corner, trembling, her eyes wide with pain and terror. Stop, I said. Ledbetter jabbed a third time. The prod hit Paula's shoulder. She collapsed, gasping. Stop. I lunged forward, grabbed Ledbetter's wrist. Everything froze. Ledbetter turned slowly. His face was granite. Remove your hand, Mr. Givens. This isn't part of my orders. You're torturing her. I'm assessing product viability. His voice dropped to ice. Remove your hand. Morrison moved behind me. I felt the barrel of his rifle against my spine. I let go. Ledbetter straightened his sleeve. Then, faster than I could react, he grabbed my throat and slammed me against the concrete wall. His grip was iron. His face inches from mine. You work for Mr. Schwartz, he hissed. That thing in the cell is inventory. $50 million of inventory. You are a temporary employee earning $50,000 to guard it. Do you understand the hierarchy here? I couldn't breathe. Couldn't speak. You're getting attached, Ledbetter continued. Just like the last guard got attached. You know what happened to him? He's in a psychiatric facility, medicated into silence, living in his own shit. He forgot his place. Forgot who he worked for. Don't follow his path, Mr. Givens. Remember your place. He released me. I collapsed, gasping. And then I saw Paula. She'd moved to the bars. Despite the pain. Despite the electric burns on her shoulder and side. She'd positioned herself as close to me as possible. Her hand gripped the bars, white-knuckled. Her eyes weren't on Ledbetter. They were on me. Protective. Defensive. She was trying to protect me. From outside her cage. While injured and terrified. Ledbetter saw it too. He smiled. Fascinating. The subject displays pack bonding behavior. That'll interest the researchers. He turned to Morrison. Increase sedation protocols. I don't want her getting aggressive before transport. Yes, sir. Ledbetter walked past me without another glance. His team followed. Morrison hesitated. You should have listened to Dr. Cortez, he said quietly. Then he left too. I waited until their footsteps faded. Until the security door sealed. Until I was alone with Paula. She'd collapsed near the bars. Her breathing was ragged. I could see the burn marks where the prod had hit raw, blistered skin showing through singed fur. She trembled. Not from the cold. From pain. From shock. Paula, I whispered. Her eyes opened slightly. Found mine. I looked at the camera in the corner. Fuck it. I was already on Ledbetter's list. I ran back through the security doors, up to the medical wing. My keycard still worked, they hadn't revoked my access yet. I grabbed veterinary supplies. Antiseptic. Burn gel. Bandages. Painkillers if she'd take them. Back down to the cell. Morrison's voice crackled over the intercom. Givens, what are you doing? My job, I said. Making sure the asset stays viable. Silence. Then, you have 10 minutes. I approached the bars. Paula watched me, confused. Hurting. I'm going to help you, I said. If you'll let me. She didn't move. Didn't retreat. Just watched. I opened the antiseptic. Soaked gauze. This is going to hurt. I'm sorry. I reached through the bars not far, just enough. Paula shifted slightly, presenting her injured shoulder. Let me access it. Trust. I cleaned the burns as gently as possible. She flinched but didn't pull away. Didn't make a sound. Just gripped the bars with her other hand and endured. I'm sorry, I whispered again. I'm sorry I didn't stop him sooner. I'm sorry for all of it. I applied the burn gel. Wrapped gauze around her shoulder as best I could through the bars. My hands shook. She held perfectly still. When I finished, I pulled back. Our eyes met. Thank you, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Raw. Beautiful. Thank you. 2 words that destroyed the last of my resistance. I wasn't just attached anymore. I was committed. And there was no going back. Jenkins had left more than just a notebook. Hidden in the locker's false-bottom military surplus, I recognized the modification was a smartphone. Powered off. Wrapped in a Faraday pouch to block signals. Smart. I waited until 0200 hours. Graveyard shift. Skeleton crew. I powered on the phone in my quarters with the door locked and a blanket draped over myself and the device to hide the screen glow from the cameras. It took 30 seconds to boot. No password. Jenkins had disabled it. Desperate men don't waste time on security. His browser history was still there. I started reading. The first article was from a conservation blog, 5 years old, Mountain Guardians, the hybrid species science forgot. Grainy photographs showed figures like Paula in wilderness settings. Standing upright. Wearing clothes. Using tools. The article called them philanthropes, a hybrid species that had evolved parallel to humans in isolated mountain regions. Rare. Intelligent. Cultural. Nearly extinct. I scrolled through dozens more articles. Academic papers. News reports. Indigenous testimonies. All telling the same story. For decades, biotech companies had been hunting them. Not for conservation. For profit. One article from a genetics journal made my blood run cold. Philanthropes DNA, the holy grail of regenerative medicine. Their genetic code was unique hybrid vigor taken to an extreme. Disease resistance. Accelerated healing. Longevity factors. Their DNA was worth millions per sample. Their organs, more. A complete specimen could be harvested for parts worth tens of millions on the black market. I found a corporate directory. Cross-referenced names. Daniel H. Schwartz appeared repeatedly. CEO of Helix Biosolutions. Board member of Gene Corp Industries. Private investor in at least 6 genetic research laboratories. His companies held patents on novel genetic sequences derived from non-human hominid sources. They'd been doing this for years. Capturing philanthropes. Extracting their genetic material. Profiting from extinction. I searched for Mountain Guardians captured. Indigenous news sites reported disappearances. Entire family groups vanishing from remote regions. Tribal elders described the tall ones with spotted fur and golden eyes being taken in the night by men in helicopters. One testimony from an elder in the Northern Territories: they took the last guardian 3 moons ago. Young female. She fought them. They shot her with darts. Put her in a cage. My grandson saw the helicopter. Black. No markings. She was crying out for her family as they flew away. 3 moons ago. 90 days. Paula. I scrolled through more files. Found the pattern. Schwartz's companies operated globally. Wherever philanthropes populations existed, they were hunted. Captured. Harvested. The last known population centers had all gone silent in the past decade. Paula wasn't just rare. She was likely one of the last of her entire species. And they were going to cut her apart for profit. My tablet pinged. Loud in the silence. Security alert, unauthorized device detected in Building C. Shit. Footsteps in the corridor. Heavy. Running. I powered off the phone, shoved it back in the Faraday pouch, buried it in the false bottom. Threw the blanket aside. Sat on my bed like I'd been sleeping. Morrison burst through my door, rifle up. Hands where I can see them. I raised my hands. What's going on? Electronic signature detected in your quarters. Where is it? I don't know what you're talking about. He swept the room. I opened the locker. Threw my clothes on the floor. Checked under the bed. Found nothing. The Faraday pouch was working. Must have been a glitch, he finally said. But his eyes were suspicious. Get some sleep, Givens. You look like shit. He left. Locked my door from the outside. I waited 30 minutes. Listened to the silence. They were watching closer now. I'd have to be more careful. The next feeding, I broke protocol again. Morrison was stationed outside, but the intercom had a dead zone 3 feet directly in front of Paula's cell where the audio didn't quite reach. Jenkins had noted it in his journal. I stood in that dead zone. Slide the tray through. Paula approached slowly, still favoring her injured shoulder. I know what you are, I said quietly. I know what they did. Philanthros. Mountain guardians. I know about your people. Paula's eyes widened. Her hand gripped the bars. I found articles. Testimonies. They've been hunting your kind for decades. Taking you. Harvesting you. I paused. An elder in the Northern Territories reported a young female taken 3 months ago. That was you, wasn't it? She nodded slowly. Her voice came out broken. Raw. My family, we were together. Hunting. They came in the sky. Metal bird. Loud. My mother told me, run. I ran. She closed her eyes. They shot her. My father. My brother. Shoot them. Took me. I'm sorry. My family, gone. My people, gone. I am last. Tears tracked down her furrowed cheeks again. They will take everything. My body. My blood. My bones. Nothing will remain. My people will be forgotten. No, I said. The word came out harder than I intended. No, they won't take you. I won't let them. You cannot stop. I don't care. I pressed my hand against the bars. She mirrored the gesture from her side. Paula, listen to me. I know what Schwartz is. I know what this place is. I know they're planning to kill you in less than a week. But I'm not going to let that happen. You will die. Maybe. But I've been dead for 2 years. Ever since my wife died and I had nothing left to live for. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe saving you is how I save myself. She stared at me. Those golden eyes searching mine for deception. For false hope. You promise? She whispered. You promise you will try? I promise I won't let them take you. Morrison's voice crackled over the intercom. Givens. Time's up. I grabbed the empty tray. Paula didn't retreat. Just stood there, one hand still pressed against the bars. 3 days, she said. They come in 3 days. The men with needles. Ledbetter told me. 3 days until harvest. 3 days. 72 hours to figure out how to break a $50 million asset out of a black site compound in the middle of nowhere. 72 hours to become either a hero or a corpse. I walked away from her cell knowing I'd just made a promise I had no idea how to keep. But I'd made it anyway. And I meant every word. The helicopters came at noon on day 11. 2 of them. The first carried Schwartz. The second carried the buyers. I watched from the compound yard as they landed. Schwartz emerged first, 50-something, silver hair, tailored suit that probably cost more than my annual salary. He moved like a man who'd never heard the word no. Behind him, 2 others. Corporate types. Expensive watches. Leather portfolios. They looked at the facility like they were touring a warehouse. Because to them, that's exactly what it was. Dr. Cortez met them at the entrance. I heard fragments of conversation as they passed. The specimen is in optimal condition. Genetic profile exceeds projections. Full extraction capabilities on site. My stomach turned. Morrison grabbed my arm. You're with us. Schwartz wants all personnel present for the inspection. We descended to Containment Wing D. The entire group: Schwartz, the 2 buyers, Ledbetter, Dr. Cortez, Morrison, and me. Paula's cell felt crowded even though we were all on the outside. Paula was sitting in the center of her cell. Not hiding. Not cowering. Just sitting with her back straight, her head high. Dignified even now. Her eyes tracked Schwartz as he approached the bars. Gentlemen, Schwartz said, gesturing like a showman. Subject 7E, Philanthro specimen. Confirmed last known survivor in the northern region. Age approximately 23. Prime reproductive age, though that's irrelevant for our purposes. One of the buyers, balding, thick glasses, stepped closer. Genetic verification complete? Full sequencing completed last week, Dr. Cortez said. DNA analysis confirms unique hybrid markers. Disease resistance factors, regenerative capabilities, longevity genes are all present and viable for extraction. And cognitive function? The second buyer asked. Asian man, 60s, cold eyes. The rumors suggest above animal intelligence. The subject displays problem-solving behavior and possible language comprehension, Cortez said carefully. But no confirmed communication. Liar. I'd heard Paula speak. They all had. But admitting she was fully sentient would complicate the ethics. Easier to pretend she was just a smart animal. Harvesting schedule? The first buyer asked. Schwartz smiled. We can begin extraction within 48 hours. Full organ procurement, tissue samples, skeletal structure, complete DNA sequencing. We'll preserve everything. Nothing wasted. And the subject's viability during extraction? She'll be kept alive as long as necessary to ensure organ freshness. Standard procedure for high-value specimens. They were talking about cutting her apart while she was still breathing. Clinical. Efficient. Monstrous. The Asian buyer nodded. I'd like to see her defensive capabilities. Verify muscle function, reflex response, threat assessment. Schwartz turned to Ledbetter. Demonstrate. No. Not again. Ledbetter pulled out the cattle prod. Paula's eyes widened. She backed against the rear wall. She knew what was coming. Wait, I said. Everyone turned to look at me. This isn't necessary. You've already assessed her condition. Mr. Givens, Schwartz said slowly. You're here to observe. Not to comment. She's already been subjected to. That will be all, Mr. Givens. Schwartz's voice cut like a blade. One more word and you're terminated. Effective immediately. Morrison's hand landed on my shoulder. A warning. A threat. Ledbetter jabbed the prod through the bars. The crack of electricity. Paula's scream. She tried to dodge but there was nowhere to go. The prod hit her ribs. She collapsed, gasping. Defensive response, Ledbetter narrated. Subject displays pain avoidance, tactical retreat, survival instinct intact. He jabbed again. Paula couldn't dodge this time. The electricity coursed through her. She convulsed, her claws extending involuntarily, her fangs bared in a grimace of pure agony. Excellent, the balding buyer said. Muscle tone superb. Claw and dental structure are ideal for study. When can we begin the extraction process? The Asian buyer asked. Schwartz checked his watch. Transport leaves tomorrow at dawn. She'll be at the extraction facility by 0900. Full procurement can begin by noon. He turned to Dr. Cortez. Sedate her tonight. I want her to be manageable for transport. Understood. Schwartz looked at me. Mr. Givens. You'll prepare the subject for sedation at 2,200 hours. Dr. Cortez will provide the necessary equipment. Sir. That's an order, Mr. Givens. You're being paid to follow orders. I suggest you do so. The group left. Their voices faded up the corridor. Discussing extraction timelines. Profit margins. Patent applications. Paula lay crumpled near the bars, trembling. Burns on top of burns. Her golden eyes found mine. Pleading. Terrified. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. Back in my quarters, I found the sedation kit on my desk. Tranquilizer gun. 3 darts. Dosage instructions. A note from Dr. Cortez, 1 dart should be sufficient. 2 if she resists. 3 will stop her heart. Don't use 3. My tablet showed a new notification. Bank transfer complete. $50,000. My account balance went from negative to black for the first time in 2 years. I could walk away. Take the money. Let Paula die. Pay off my debts. Start over somewhere clean. Pretend none of this ever happened. My hand hovered over the tablet. Accept payment. Close account. Forget. Sarah's photo sat on the shelf. I picked it up. Traced her face with my thumb. You were a good man once, she'd told me near the end. Morphine-addled. Barely conscious. Don't let them take that from you too. I promised her I wouldn't. Promised I'd stay good. Stay human. And then I watched her die. I watched the bills pile up. I watched my life collapse. And I'd taken this job anyway. Knowing it was wrong. Knowing it would cost me the last piece of myself I had left. But I'd met Paula. Heard her speak. Seeing her art. I felt her trying to protect me even from inside her cage. She wasn't a specimen. She was a person. A person who'd lost everything. Who was about to lose even her life. And I promised her I wouldn't let them take her. I set Sarah's photo down. Picked up the tranquilizer gun. Checked the darts. I'm sorry, I whispered to my wife's memory. I'm about to do something really stupid. But it's the right kind of stupid. The kind you would have done. I looked at the monitor. Paula was sitting in the darkness, waiting. Knowing what was coming. Resigned to it. Not anymore. I had 12 hours until they expected me to sedate her. 12 hours to figure out how to save us both. Or die trying. At 2,200 hours, I walked down to Containment Wing D with the tranquilizer gun in my hand and a plan that would either save us or kill us both. Paula sat in the center of her cell. Not hiding. Not fighting. Just waiting. When she saw me approach, her ears flattened against her head. Her eyes held resignation. Betrayal she'd expected all along. I stopped at the bars. I looked at the camera in the corner. Red light blinking. Then I lowered the tranquilizer gun to the floor. Pulled out Morrison's keycard. I'd lifted it during the morning shift change. Slide it through the cell door's lock. The bolt clicked open. Loudest sound I'd ever heard. Paula's eyes went wide. What are you? I made you a promise, I said. I'm keeping it. The alarm triggered immediately. Deafening. Red emergency lights flooded the corridor. Lockdown protocols engaged, but too late. The cell door was already open. I pulled it wide. Come on. Paula hesitated for one heartbeat. Then she moved. Fast. Graceful. Through the door and into the corridor beside me. Footsteps thundered above us. Boots on concrete. Shouting. The intercom crackled. Security breach, Containment Wing D. All personnel respond. I grabbed a fire axe from the emergency station. Paula flexed her claws. We looked at each other. Together, I said. Together, she agreed. The security door burst open. Ledbetter came through first, pistol drawn. For guards behind him, rifles up. Givens. Ledbetter's face was pure rage. Step away from the asset. Now. Her name is Paula, I said. And she's not an asset. She's a person. You're under arrest for corporate sabotage and... Fuck your arrest. I swung the axe at the surveillance camera. It exploded in a shower of sparks and plastic. The guards opened fire not at Paula, at me. They needed her intact. Paula moved like liquid violence. She crossed the 15 feet between us and the guards in less than 2 seconds. Hit the first guard low, disarmed him with one swipe of her claws. Spun. Took out the second with an elbow to the throat. The third tried to grab her, she broke his arm with a single twist. I tackled the fourth guard, drove my fist into his face. Once. Twice. He went down. Ledbetter aimed at Paula. Stop or I'll. She moved faster than he could track. Batted the gun from his hand. Slammed him against the wall. Held him there with one clawed hand around his throat. You hurt me, she said quietly. You hurt many like me. You will not hurt more. She threw him. He hit the opposite wall and didn't get up. Come. Paula grabbed my arm. More will come. We ran up the stairwell. Every alarm in the facility screaming. I led us to the command center. Kicked in the door. 2 technicians looked up in shock. Get out, I said. They ran. I smashed every console I could reach. The surveillance hub shattered. Communication systems sparked and died. Paula found the power junction. Ripped out the cables with her bare hands. The emergency lights flickered. Schwartz's voice exploded over the failing intercom. Givens. You're dead. Both of you. Do you hear me? Dead. Not yet, I muttered. I found the security override panel. Used Morrison's keycard. Opened every gate. Every door. Every fence. Paula watched me work. Why do you do this? You will lose everything. I already lost everything, I said. 2 years ago. This is me finding something worth keeping. Outside, generators roared to life. Backup power. We had maybe a few minutes. Your neck, I said. The collar. It's tracking us. Paula's hand went to the metal band. I cannot remove it. Locked. I grabbed a rifle from the wall rack. Hold still. She tilted her head. Exposed the collar. I positioned the rifle but against the lock mechanism. This is going to hurt. I have known worse. I brought the rifle butt down. Hard. The lock cracked. Again. It broke. The collar fell away. Small red light on the inside tracking device. I crushed it under my boot. My tablet was still in my pocket. I pulled it up. Bank account. $50,000 sitting there. Blood money. Payment for delivering Paula to her death. I grabbed a fuel canister from the emergency supplies. Emptied it over the consoles. Over the security records. Over everything. What are you doing? Paula asked. Burning bridges. I pulled out a lighter. Flicked it. Blood money burns just fine. I dropped it. Flames erupted. Spread fast. Paula's hand found mine. Warm. Strong. Come, she said. My territory. You are hunted now too. We go together. Together, I agreed. We ran through the burning command center. Out into the compound yard. Emergency lights strobed. Guards were scrambling, confused by the open gates and failing systems. The perimeter fence was wide open. Beyond it, wilderness. Forest. Freedom. We ran. Paula moved like she'd been born to these leaping obstacles, navigating terrain in the darkness like she could see every branch, every stone. I followed, crashing through brush, lungs burning. Behind us, something exploded. The fuel had reached the generators. Orange light bloomed against the night sky. The facility was burning. Helicopter rotors spun up. They'd pursue. But the darkness was thick, and Paula knew these mountains. This way. She pulled me off the main path. Into deeper forest. Up a slope. Through a stream to break our scent trail. We ran until the sun broke over the mountains. Ran until the sounds of pursuit faded to nothing. Ran until we collapsed in a ravine, gasping, bleeding, alive. Paula looked at me. Golden eyes catching the dawn light. You destroyed your life. For me. Yeah, I said. Best decision I ever made. She smiled. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was beautiful. My people had a saying, she said. Those who save a life become bound to it. You saved mine. Now we are bound. I can live with that. She stood. Offer her hand. I took it. We climbed out of the ravine together. Somewhere behind us, sirens wailed. Helicopters searched. Schwartz was probably screaming into a phone. But we were gone. Into the wilderness. Into freedom. Two silhouettes disappearing into the forest. Side by side.